What do you think executives should look for in their executive assistant?
They should look for someone who's very open. You basically need to acquire a lot from your client.
Number one for me would be someone who's trustworthy. A lot of informations will be shared, build the relationship, and you'll know if this is someone who you can trust.
Why offsite?
Why offsite?
Right? Why not?
Yeah. Oh,
You would really know the difference when you hire an offsite.
Hey, good day, and welcome to the Offsite Team podcast. Today we're talking about something big today. It's like if someone has ever said, I wish there were two of me, I wish there were three of me, I cannot get enough stuff done. If you've ever thought, I wish I had more time, this is the episode for you. We're going to show you a little Spidey secret on how to make that happen. But we have a guest today, my executive assistant. This is Rex. He is my personal executive assistant. We tried to have a client hire him away from us last week, and I said, sorry, non-negotiable. He's mine. So you may not hire Rex, but we just kind of want to talk about having, we have several other team members at Howard's that have VAs, which stands for virtual assistant or executive assistant or assistant, that helps us do our job better. And we're just going to be asking Rex how he really does a good job taking care of myself, how he takes care of myself, and how one of our offsite team members or VAs could very easily help you in your business. But in the meantime, hey, how are you today, April?
I am good. I had so much fun with the previous episode.
Oh, wasn't that funny?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, our previous
Are
episode, we did not tell her ahead of time because CG and the communications team she would get nervous and wouldn't be herself. So we just called her on the podcast episode, which is really fun and actually it was fun. There was lots of laughs. We'll put it this way. Anyway, so where we're going, we need more time to get more things done. I mean, who does not need more time? And what happened last year is I've had an executive assistant here at Howard's for 6, 7, 8 years. It's been amazing. My previous two executive assistants have been in the United States. They've been like, if you came to visit me in Yakima, Washington, I have an office out there and you'd go through my executive assistant. You want to book an appointment with me, you're going to work through him. And this last year, my executive assistant was just knocking it out of the park. He outgrew the position because he was doing so well, and he moved up in our organization. And a lot of this also was he got to see how we ran the business and some of the things that worked really well with our business. It was time for him to move on. It was like, crumb. Okay, I'll go hire someone new. And we were going to hire another guy here in the United States. And then I realized, we're running this really great company in the Philippines. I know a lot of other people who do have assistants in the Philippines. Let's take a flyer and hire one of our offsite team members. Now, this was one of those things I'm very particular. So when I hire an executive assistant, I just don't hire one person to do little things. I kind of go all in. And if you do want to hire a VA, you get to decide how much access they have into your life. It could be very just by email, but like when I have worked with my executive assistants, they almost become one with my iCloud schedule. My executive assistants gets to see my schedule, all of my meetings, all of my emails, my text messages, my voicemail. And so it's one of those things, we lock this thing down for obvious reasons, but what happens is Rex is now, what have you been my assistant for how long? What, 9 months?
Yes.
So you've been my assistant 9 months. You've had to learn, how does Erik answer these? And the good thing is my old assistant, still with our company, you've had several conversations with Tim, who's my old assistant, and say, okay, how would Erik handle this? But for me, it's really freed me up because we were having this conversation today. There are vitally important emails. Like these emails are so important. When they come to my email, it's not like me even waiting. You send me a text message, so-and-so sent you a text message, because there are some emails that, very, very important. And then there's other ones. We all know who they are. They want us to buy their widget, and I don't even look at those. They go into a junk mail folder that it says Rex reviewed. And I look at those once a week just to make sure you're not missing something. And a little secret, I don't think I've even told you this, Rex. You've been doing such a good job. I look at those once a month, and there's been very few corrections because you know what I'm looking for. So let me just ask you, Rex, what is a VA or what is an offsite executive assistant? What might someone in your position do for someone else?
I mean, basically, what I do to you is to take care of you
Mm-hmm.
and to basically me acting as like sort of your twin,
Mm-hmm.
doing, the things that you do on a regular, and I'm just performing it on
Yeah.
your side. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's it.
We look the same, don't we? I'll tell I'll tell you when I was in the Philippines, it was 3 years ago. It's been a long time.
Hmm.
Whenever it was I think maybe 2.5 years ago. We were at dinner, and what we do every time we go to the Philippines is we sit down we eat lots. And
Hmm.
Rex was just being himself and was playing with my son, and they were playing Rubik's Cube together. And I'm like, man, what a great guy. And April and CJ were kind of talking about the same thing, talking about our communications team. Offsite team, they're not just people, they're like real people. I mean, I know you guys are real,
Mhm.
but like when you get to hang out and eat with someone or play Rubik's Cubes, or you're playing with my kid, which is arguably the most cherished possession I have, and seeing how you treat them, it just says, hey, you're just like anyone else. You care for people. Now, April, when you heard that I was going to move from Tim, who was my old executive assistant, to
Mhm.
Rex, what was your first thought?
He was actually the first one that came to mind when
Mhm.
you told me that you need an executive assistant. So I was like, Rex is definitely the one that is fitted for the job because not only he knows how to care, but his communication is really great, which
Mhm.
I think is really important. You have to, the comprehension and communication has to be really good in order for you to be effective as an executive assistant, especially when you're working remotely, because
Mhm.
it's not all the time you can just stop your executive assistant. This time, there's a lot more communications involved.
Yeah.
So he's the first person really that pops in my head.
I would agree with it. And it's really for me, and now everyone's different.
Mhm.
I would love to someday talk to 3, 4, 5 different clients. And because we're all different, and how I interact with my executive assistant, I know is different than how other people interact with their executive assistants. And so really people will say, well, what can my executive assistant do? I'm like, well, what do you want them to do? I mean, it might
Mhm.
just be email. That's it. Now, if all you need is email, you probably only need someone 2 hours a day to just go through the email and forward it and organize it. Other times, I'm using Rex for literally everything.
Mhm.
If it can be done remotely, I'll share this story. This is not work related, but it is work related because it takes me away from work. I was fighting with, it was like the cable company or something. I was not a happy person because they were doing something like, this is dumb. Hey, Rex, here's my account number. Here's the phone number. Take care of this bill for me. He did it. Oh, I know what it was. One of them was when I blew my back out and I couldn't go to the Philippines. I had the trip insured. And like,
Right.
Rex,
Mhm.
work on this. He got the doctor's note for me, sent it off to the insurance company, and I got a full refund for my trip that was supposed to go to the Philippines. That would have been,
Mhm.
we all know how hard that is. And I'm sure that took Rex hours upon hours. That was something I was able to offload to my executive assistant. Think of how
Mhm.
much time he saved me. And so, one of the things that owners need to understand, every owner needs to understand your hourly rate. And I know this is kind of not politically correct, but all of us are worth an hourly wage. And so I was once talking with an owner of a company, and he's like, I'm too busy. I need to go clean bathrooms. I'm like, you what? He's like, well, the janitors are just so expensive. And I'm like, I know how much this person made. This person was so cheap, they would not even hire a janitor to come in to clean their bathrooms. But the problem is let's say this person's hourly wage, I'm just going to throw out numbers, between 50 and 100, maybe even $200 an hour is their hourly wage. And you can't offset a janitor, but let's say $20, $25 an hour, somewhere
Mhm.
between 10 and 25. That's still that much time that would save this owner of a company so they can continue to make $100 an hour. Because if someone makes $100 an hour and you pay a janitor 25, that's $75 that they make doing whatever, and that's how much more
Mhm.
money the business makes. Or in our case, I'm able to take more time off of work to go hang out with my kids. And this is what an executive assistant allows you to do. So, Rex, give me one or two things that you've learned working with me this year. Just we'll start there.
Oh, that's a lot.
And if it's not politically correct, we'll just ask our other person to wipe it from the record. So,
Okay.
first thought, best thought.
Yeah. I would say that you book a lot of flights. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one thing that I
Yeah,
learned.
you do a lot of
And
my scheduling. Mm-hmm.
yes, and yeah, a lot of scheduling and yeah, working through iCloud and sharing notes.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. And yeah, having an ecosystem to work on it, that's pretty much
Yeah.
cool.
It doesn't have
And
to be, it does not have to be Apple, by the way. I'm an Apple person, and it made no sense me
Mm-hmm.
having everything in my Apple ecosystem and having you on a PC. So you actually have both a
right.
PC with Offsite Team, and
Mhm.
I got you a MacBook,
Right.
and it works really, really well. But I'll give you an example of what it looks like. I'm a parent of 4 kids, and it drives me nuts. Anyone who has kids knows what I'm talking about. You get that schedule. Here are your kids' cross country meets. Happens every year. Well, I have 4 kids. I
Mm-hmm.
send all 4 meets to Rex, put them on my schedule, and let me know when the conflicts are. And it magically appears on my schedule. I love it. Rex is also perusing our internal HR here. And anyone who's underneath me, if they're off for the day, he puts on my schedule. So and so is not at work today. They're so and so is running the department for them. So what Rex is doing is really utilizing my back end. So what's most valuable is I'm thinking, how do I run the companies that I run? Who am I
Mhm.
leading? Who do I need to talk to? And he gets to see that.
Mhm.
And it's really, really helpful. And then what also happens, if you go across all the companies, we're almost up to, I would say, almost 100 team members. If you consider offsite, onsite, and I have a couple other side businesses as well too. People are
Mhm.
always reaching out. I'd like to have a meeting with Erik. Well, if everyone had a 30-minute meeting for me, I'd be here a long time. Rex knows, Erik, do you really want to meet with so and so? I'm like, no, I don't want to meet with them. So he'll triage those team members to the people they really should be meeting. But then there's other people. We had someone literally, this was so cool. It was a week or two ago, a big gun in our industry. I'll just put it this way, wanted to have a meeting with me. And Rex was like, I think this person's really big. And I said, yes, it is. You clear my schedule and let me meet with them immediately. And I did. That was one of those things. I would have missed that email had it not been for Rex. And I would have missed a
Mm-hmm.
very, very important meeting that I really enjoyed having. So that's one of the neat things. I so love having Rex manage my schedule. And yes, you take care of my flights and hotels, and it's wonderful. So now, April, let me ask you,
Mm-hmm.
from an executive assistant standpoint, how have you noticed my life here with the Offsite Team and Howard and the other companies I run either get better or worse since Rex has started helping me out?
I believe it got better because number one is, especially when I'm meeting with you, I don't have to like text you right away. I just go to Rex. Rex, what's his schedule?
Mm-hmm.
How does his calendar look like for this week? I want to schedule a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's easier for me to schedule a meeting with you by not having to talk to you directly. I just talk to Rex. And I think that was really helpful. And on top of that, I remember before there's this, some document management that he's been working on in the emails. And I think that was really helpful because I do my document management and he does that for you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really super helpful.
Because owners of companies, or even if you're a high-end exec, we
Mhm.
need help. We have so much busy work put on our plate. So what I want our podcasters to listen to is like, look at your schedule throughout the week. If you're not scheduling, we'll start there. Schedule your week and then look at where are you most productive? Because most of us who come into the industry, there are some things that are really, really special. So can I go out and do a hospice delivery? Can I go out and do a hospital bed delivery? Well, yeah, I can. Can I answer phones? Yes. Not everyone can lead the companies. And so a lot of when someone thinks, do I need a VA? Do I need an executive assistant? Think of what could I take off my plate so I can do things that are really allow our company to scale. And so from
Mhm.
a scaling point of view, this allows executives to become even more profitable for their company. The other side, this doesn't make you more profitable, kind of, is it allows us more time with our families.
Mhm.
And so there's a lot of times I'm like, hey, Rex, I'm going to get out 2 to 3 hours early today. Please just text me if A, B, or C happens, and I'll leave the office, and you're like, hey, I need you to come back. This is what's happening, and I'll come back. But that does not happen very frequently. And it's allowed me to do other time with my family, but even really rest well, because I found that the more I rest, the better my ideas are for taking care of our businesses that we have. And I think a lot of owners of companies sell themselves short by not resting enough. I can give you guys a psych behind this, but it's really important for us to rest so we can do other things. And in terms of putting cross-country meets, looking at emails, back-end customer service of things. So Rex, now I'm going to flip it on its head. Tell me an area that you've struggled with me. If this is politically incorrect, we'll wipe it from the record. But tell me an area that you've struggled with me and how you've grown over the last couple of months.
I would say that there are a lot of people trying to, take a 15 or 30 minute of your time. At first, I felt like, yeah, maybe they deserve your time, and it's like as much as possible, I would like to accommodate everyone. But then, yeah, in time, I mean, you told me that, there are several people that I can only talk to on a certain day. And then looking at your calendar, seeing that, you only have a very few time even to rest or even to take your lunch. I wanted to make sure as well that you have your lunch scheduled. So yeah.
We let you guys take days off. We let you have your lunch. Vitally important. It's the same thing with me.
Yes.
One of my favorite people, I'm going to get into a little bit of coaching because I'm also an executive coach. People are always talking about balance. I hate the word balance. Balance does not exist. If you're watching us on YouTube, I have a pen here. Balance is like this. If you get it just right, you can balance a pen on your finger. But the moment anything happens, it will fall.
Right.
That is balance. Balance is, if you are pursuing balance, I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. Rhythm will happen. So think of a great song. Whether you're into K-pop or alternative or country, you name it, think of a great song. It has a rhythm to it. And then it'll typically build up to something. If it's heavy metal like Metallica or some slow stuff like you name it, I mean, who knows? Rhythm is really what makes music special. The really great leaders that I have worked with have rhythm. And there are days, and Rex knows this, my Tuesdays, I go hard. I frequently work a half day, which is 12 hours because there's 24 hours in a day. I will frequently work 12 hours on a Tuesday, but it's part of my rhythm that I have built in. And I actually love pounding out a 12-hour day. Rex also knows my Thursdays don't ever ask me for a Thursday. If you have a Thursday meeting, you are special. Because Thursdays is the day that I protect. It's my rest day. I do a lot of praying that day. I do a lot of big thoughts. But once you understand the rhythm to it, and Rex, you've worked with me on this, and it's like, oh, this is Erik's rhythm. And I think that's a little different because you're now working with an executive. And so if someone does need an executive assistant or a VA, you can do whatever legally you want to with them. Their job is to help you out. You can have them do sales calls for you. You can have them manage your schedule. You can literally have your executive assistant do whatever you want. But a lot of it's just figuring out what does that look like. So a lot of what Rex and I do is we talk. And frequently, this also looks like, it doesn't have to be video. I mean, we do a lot of video conversation, but a lot of times I'm doing a lot of travel. I'm in my truck. I'm just talking to you. We'll talk for 45 minutes because the way I have my thoughts, I need someone who has a sounding board. What executives don't need a sounding board? Get yourself a VA, get yourself a Rex, you may not have Rex, no, but get yourself a VA who you get to know. Tell me your personality. And I was talking with, I'm going to say this because I can, this is not an equal opportunity employer because the Philippines, they don't deal with that. We have a client, they're Catholic, and they would prefer to hire a Catholic. You're not allowed to do this in the United States. But remote, you tell me, do you want a guy? Do you want a girl? What religious background? What personality? We can do this with the offsite team. And this has been a little bit weird because I'm so used to, there can be no discrimination whatsoever in the United States. Offsite remotely, you just tell me what you want and we'll go hire it. And it's really cool. So if you know what you're looking for in an assistant, we can get this for you, which is really cool. I have a general idea of what we're looking for. we don't hit it 100% of the time. But like with Rex, it's taken us a while, Rex, but I think you know me there are aspects of my life, I'll be honest, you know me better than my wife does, because you're going to see everything that I do, but I trust you and you're helping me. Your role is to help me over here. And it's been really fun. So Rex, let's just say, granted, you've only been my executive assistant, but you've also been working for a lot of other people. What do you think executives should look for in their executive assistant besides just a nice symbiotic relationship? What do you think?
I think they should look for someone who's very open, because as an executive assistant, you basically need to acquire a lot from your client.
Mm-hmm.
It's like me absorbing who Erik is.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to make sure that I'm very open, and yeah, and to get you,
Mm-hmm.
like I know what you mean when you say things, and knowing that you
And a
mean
lot
what you
of
say and
it
say what you
is
mean.
we talk a lot when we have disagreements. And what I mean, and
Yes.
usually what it is it's not in a, I try not to ever yell at you. But I'll say, hey, we missed this one.
Right.
Let's debrief. And because
Yes.
that has happened a couple of times where I thought
Hmm.
you were doing one thing and you did something else. But that's like any relationship. Any relationship has disagreements. And so if someone does hire an executive assistant, it's going to take more effort on the front end. Now, I was able
Hmm.
to bring you up to speed way faster than someone else because you had Tim. And so as we
Hmm.
worked through things, you were calling Tim, and now I don't even know how
Yeah.
often you don't talk to Tim much anymore because you've kind of figured things out, or you're like, hey, Erik, I'm
Right.
curious, do you want this or do you want this?
Right.
And it's really simple. Well, I think it's simple now. It might be really, really hard for you.
I mean, if there's something new that would come up to me, sometimes I would go to Tim and then ask his guidance. It's like, is this
Hmm.
something I can do on my end right now, or do you want me to ask Erik? And yeah, he would just guide me.
Hmm.
And if it's gonna lead me asking you the question, then yeah, it's gonna happen. So
And the nice thing is as I've said earlier, there's a lot of conversations that take place. So
yeah.
now you're primarily working for me. We have a weekly
Yes.
sync, and that's
Hmm.
really helpful. But then we can also have pop-up syncs. Anyone can meet
Yeah.
with their executive assistant as much
Yeah.
or as little as they want to. You can meet with them
Hmm.
7 times a day. You can meet with them once a month. I will tell you, if you're only meeting with your executive assistant once a month, there's going to be a little bit more, I don't want to say disagreements, but there won't be as much,
Connection.
yeah,
Yeah.
connection. Absolutely. April, so if someone else were to hire an executive assistant, what do you think they should look for? I've asked Rex that. What do you think?
I'd say number one for me would be someone who's trustworthy,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of informations will be shared, especially the sensitive
Yeah.
information and confidential information. So it would be better to know your executive assistant, to know them deeper, and then build the relationship, and you'll know if this is someone who you can trust and the integrity
Mm-hmm.
is in there.
And
Mhm.
everyone's different. You don't have to go thoroughly deep. You don't have to give them access
Mhm.
to your iCloud schedule. You might just give them a list. Here are the
Right.
7 things I want done. And you might know
Mhm.
nothing about the executive that you're working for. We're okay with that as well, too. Everyone's different. So literally, it's
Mhm.
like you're given a recipe. You go in to the kitchen,
Mhm.
and there might be something super easy, and you're to make cereal. Here's the box of cereal, milk, and there you go. Or you can go really deep. This is where you want to go. And so the beauty of an executive assistant, you tell us what you want, how many hours you want. Do you want him or her for 4 hours a week, 40 hours a week? You let us know and we'll build it up for you as long as it exists. Now, if you ask for a rainbow pony and with magic powers, we will try, but we have not yet found rainbow ponies with magic powers. They don't exist. We'll say, I don't think that's out there, but we do have people who are great with English, great in Excel, great in blank. We have a lot of resources, and we have purposely one of our next location. We're at 3 different locations in the Philippines. Our next location, we purposely have our next location very close to a university with 10,000 students. So you might wonder, Erik, why is your next location down there in the Philippines? Well, it's a 4-year university with 10,000 students. We wanted to move to an area of the Philippines where there was even more talent to draw from. We have amazing talent. It's not where you're from, Rex. It's not where you're from, April. But we fit, as we were scaling as a company, we needed another location where we could draw from even more talent, because I don't know what people are going to ask for next. Coders, but our specialty is medical supplies, respiratory, DME. We are here. I could get someone a executive assistant who specializes in DME tomorrow. But anything I have not asked you yet, Rex, that you think I should ask you?
Why offsite?
Why offsite?
Right? Why not?
Yeah. Oh,
It's the starting point. Like
Mhm.
you would really know the difference when you
Yeah.
hire an offsite.
You
I
will.
would.
Mhm. And
I
if you
mean,
don't
if
hire
they're
an offsite VA, all that's going to
Mhm.
happen is you just keep wasting your time.
Yeah.
You keep working harder. I mean, that's really, I mean, worst case scenario, you'll just waste your time. And we were signing a client up last week because people are always like, well, what if I have to lay them off? And people always, well, if I hire someone, here's the beauty of offsite. If you hire one of our VAs and don't like them, they don't lose their job. They come right back to work for us. Because if they were not offsite team material, we would have fired them a long time ago. So it's almost like, hey, get your puppy, take the puppy home. If you like it, great. If not, we'll give it to someone else. But as you know, with puppies, typically you keep the puppies. I like puppies. I have 2 dogs myself. Anyway, funny story. I got a puppy for my wife. She
Mhm.
didn't want it. Want to give it away. I'm like, no. So now my puppy comes to work with me. Love him. He's awesome. I'm like, you missing out? He's a good dog.
Yeah.
But if you don't like your offsite team member, give him back to us. But anyway, hey, if you are interested in hiring a virtual assistant or executive assistant from offsite team member, just go to our website, offsiteteammember.com. I'll even set a meeting up with Rex, and you can talk to Rex directly. You may not hire him, but you may talk to him, and he has friends. You can talk to me, April. We are here to help your DME respiratory business, rehab business succeed. And that's what we're here for. So until next week, thank you for listening to the Offsite Team podcast, and do a great job of taking really great care of your customers, and may your business succeed.